Hello everyone, so today I'm guiding you through the process on how I created this painting in watercolor. To start, I have here a sketch. So the first thing you need to do is to wet the parts that you will be adding the sky on. So I want to do a wet on wet technique here. So I first use yellow. Right after, I'll be putting some red so it would produce oranges and peaches with water. So the more you add water and you can let it mingle for a minute, for a while, you can have a nice cloud-like form. Now you add ultramarine blue, so that would create some purples and neutral hints in the background. Then I added another batch of red to make it a little bit warmer. Right after, I'm adding blue to have in contrast. Then I'm also adding a little bit of blue on the lower part and then faded it with water going down to the painting. Now I'm adding yellows here and there to add sunlight feel to our painting. Now we're adding the greens, so I just used the green that was included in the pack of this watercolor. So here I'm trying to create a deeper kind of green on the back. So I used ultramarine as a base for the greens. And now here on the front side, you have a fresher green. It usually combines with the yellow, so you have yellow green. So I added also a little bit of ultramarine blue to have a blue-greenish part. And then now I'm adding a little bit of red to neutralize the green, so that would produce a little hints of burnt sienna or browns. I'm also using a very watery mix of blue for the pathway, so it would be a grayish hint of tone. And then I'm trying to layer parts here. Now since the sky is dry, you can now add a silhouette of the tower there. So it doesn't necessarily need to have all of the parts of the building. So what you want here is a suggestion of the building that you want to be seen from a farther area. So less details means a farther object in your painting. So I'm just adding a few dark and light areas in the foliages and trees from the back. So I just want a little bit of contrast from there. So I just use blue and a little bit of burnt sienna when I want something to be extra darker. There, now I'm adding nearer trees, so in the middle ground. Here you can see I started with yellow green and then I tried to fade it with the things that are near to it. Now I usually paint this way, so I just add layer after layer of colors and then I try to adjust everything whenever everything is dried. So here you can see the trees are getting very dark. So to create very dark greens, you just need to add dark blues or browns, or you can even add purples or green whenever you want to darken a green or to make it a little bit in the feel of as if the colors are in shadow. So here I also introduced the color that I put there on the back part. So whenever you're using watercolor, you want to introduce a new color, you use it not just on that part, not unless you really want it to pop out from everything that you're painting. So here I'm adding a little bit of red here and there to make the colors a little bit warmer. And then I'm adding a very light blue on one side of the house in the back, right after a warm brick-like color on the upper part. So to darken that, you just need to put blue on the burnt sienna to get that brown. See? I try to add that color here and there, and then I try to darken the tree again. Later on, you'll see I'll just remove some of the parts that I feel that would lack yung tonal contrast. You may seem to look at the painting and then you feel that whenever watercolor dries, sometimes or more than often, you get yung colors to be different than when it's wet. So for this example, I just felt that the first layer of reds that I put was a little bit less. So I'm trying to introduce another warm yellow orange here and there. And I am trying to do some details in the house there. So I'm just adding shadows to make you feel that the house have more details than it should have. So when you're using watercolors, always remember colors are different whenever they're wet, and then whenever they're dried, it's okay to experiment. So doing paintings like these on your sketch notebook. So I'm using a Moleskine journal here. It's a watercolor journal, and I'm using a fairly new watercolor. So this is the first time that I use this watercolor. This is Arteza Watercolor. And then the brush that I'm using is a cruelty-free brush by ZenArt Supplies that I got from a giveaway. Now I'm adding darks and shadows. Right after doing this part, I felt that the colors are a little bit too yellow, since my favorite colors would be those in the reds and the purple side. I'll try to add more colors into that. So there we'll be adding layers of colors where I felt it's needed to increase the contrast of the painting. So I'm trying to push the colors of the foliage back. And now you can see me handling a tissue paper. So I'm lifting colors using a tissue paper and a brush, and then adding dark colors on the parts where I want the contrast to be high. So here you can see I'm trying to manipulate the contrast of that bush. So I wanted it a little bit lighter rather. So here I'm trying to pick some colors. So I wanted to add more flowers going to the front. So I'm trying to lift colors where I want to add more details. You can do this if the colors that you put on the first layers are not staining. So I'm glad that the colors that I used for the foreground are not too staining. So the effect that I wanted was it actually worked. So here I'm bringing back in yellow. Right after, I adjusted the colors again, putting more dark colors in the layers. And right after this, you see you can still lift things, and then you add the colors you put in front, and then you put it also on the back. Always remember, you want to do that just in case. And then I felt that, yeah, the reds would be perfect for this. It would just guide your eyes. Red actually guides your eye in a painting, in almost anything. So I put it there. To match, I also added red on the farther parts, so that you have the idea that, oh, those parts would still be flowers. There you go. And then I also added a glaze of that in the roof and the shadow of the house. And then it's just adjustment here and there. I lift colors, I add glazes. There I add reds on the farther trees, and you want to soften the edges. Careful whenever you do this like that. You should be more careful. So that's the finished painting, and I hope you enjoyed the quick process vlog. Please like and subscribe. If you want me to do more things, just put it on the comment down below. Thank you so much, and see you again in my next vlog. Ciao.